Today, as we start this show, this one mic. We have echoes throughout the stadium. There is a pause throughout the stadium as this man sounds like he just coughs up a lung. Just looking around, the Jumbotron shows and pans the cheerleaders, and as it goes down each cheerleader's face, each one breaks up into laughter, which at this particular time destroys half the stadium. The other half is still trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Does this guy need CPR or something? And then at that particular time, I lost it. Devon dropped. Yes. Today,
Blog Talk Radio.
Start this show, this one mic.
Phoenix is another place. They got a great training staff. They were able to breathe life back into Shaq. And you can do that. People talk a lot about their training staff.
Blog.
Yes, today, as we start this show, this one mic.
Yes, today, as we start this show, this one mic. All right, before we get into this business, we want to thank our hosts who have been with us since the Maui Invitational, Bowman Medical Group, and Mind Match Development. I want to thank them for supporting us. We got the up-and-coming, RSG Tourney Challenge, and they'll be in the mix on that. We'll give y'all more here in the next week on what's going on in the Tourney Challenge. We got the belt holder here. I still got to give him his belt. It's been the pandemic. You know what they said about the what's happening with all the processing and materials and everything else. We got shortages on everything, but I still got to get it to my man Hammer, who was the winner last year. So we definitely, before we do it, we're gonna have him so he can show you his belt. We've been looking at it, and I got to get it to him on the south side of Chicago. How you doing, brother?
I'm blessed in the land of living, brother. Doing well, man. Just doing well. Putting stuff in perspective. I think we coming out of this pandemic. Numbers coming down, man. Spirits are up. So, I think, I'm ready to talk some sports with my brothers from Beloit and, from Beloit, Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, and Michigan. That's where you're from. So you live in Beloit.
Well, I'll say I always tell people I born in Ann Arbor, but I did grow up in Beloit. I've been here long enough, so I gotta give the folks in Beloit a lot of love. And we got the youngin over there hanging out in southeastern Michigan. Where we'll get to that in a minute. But how you doing?
Man, I'm great as always. It's the weather's starting to warm up a little bit. I didn't have to wear my coat today. I just came out there with the hoodie and feeling good.
Well, the name of this podcast is the theme of it's going to be the aftermath. It's just, that's all we can say. Everything we're going to talk about going to feel like it's the aftermath. What is going on next after all the stuff and the craziness and everything is going on. So we're going to have fun with it. For those who listen to us, we'll open up with the open mic. We'll get us some topics that kind of get us wet our whistle, and then we'll get into the heart of our show with the cipher, and then we'll leave you with a little bit of something for your heart, something that you can take with you when we drop the mic. We always do that in the spirit of our man Hank, who has been on, he's been on leave. We don't know what kind of leave it is yet, but we've been on leave, and I've been in communication. We're trying to get everything set up and lined up. But he usually drops that mic, but we've been holding it down here with the 3-man weave, and so we're gonna get in to a lot today, and so we're gonna try and get into this open mic. There's a lot going on. I'm gonna start out with this one. I'm calling it As the World Turns, because that's all I could do. Aaron Rodgers like a soap opera. Like, Instagram wasn't meant for somebody to send you some type of long 3-page, love note to your teammates. But Aaron was just talking about everybody, from the backup quarterbacks to everybody he ever met. I just think this guy got too much time on his hands. Hammer, you know, you've been up here, man. You've been up here in Wisconsin. What is going on in Green Bay and with Aaron Rodgers? What's going on with him, man? Is that Berkeley education?
Well, he wasn't even there that long. He was there, what, 2 years? So he ain't got no Berkeley education. Shoot. And
He had to be there for 3 though. Oh, that's right. He transferred in. That's right.
2
years. That's right.
He ain't no alum.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Aaron's always been a flake, man. I think that's why, you know, when I was in a bar about 17 years ago and 49ers had the first pick on the clock, they passed on him because there were a lot of red flags about his leadership at Cal, his flakiness. And with Alex Smith, who clearly was not, you know, as good talent. And they knew that. But I think that they were talking about leadership. They weren't talking about talent. So Aaron's always been flaky. And, you know, he's always been sort of a prima donna, a guy that you know, shoot his parents, his own brother for Olivia Munn and dumped her. It's just craziness. Him and, you know, he should there should be a ban on him on the Pat McAfee show. That's just straight up clowning. So, you know, the bottom line with Aaron is that Aaron's a great quarterback who can win the big one, and we saw that. This year. We've seen it a lot of years, except for the one year he was a 6th seed, and then he made it to the championship and beat your Steelers. But yeah, I'm not surprised at Aaron. He's always some mass clowning, and he'll be back in Green Bay. He's not going anywhere. And get Devontae. You probably know Devondre Campbell was in Green Bay on Sunday, getting locked up. So, yeah, I mean, but again, the bottom line is that, you know, Packers fans want to see championships. They want to see these great seasons and then get whooped in the first round. So, you know, I wish him well, but he's just a flake. I mean, I heard about his cleanse. I don't want to talk about it on radio. It's foul. It's cleanse. Look it up. What he did is, you know, one of the talk show hosts, my brother Anthony Herron, talked about it, and I turned the channel. He's listening to the brother, but I don't hear that mess. So yeah, that's what's up with Green Bay. A lot of mess, and you know, a lot of failure in big moments. I'll put it that way. And you know, MVPs that don't matter really. 2 MVPs that don't matter basically. So back to back. So
Youngin, what say you?
I mean, as far as offseason stuff with Aaron Rodgers, I don't care. I mean, it's not something I follow. It's something I look at. And as far as I'm concerned, Aaron Rodgers is a member of the Green Bay Packers until somebody else tells me otherwise. I mean, if he's on the team until Adam Schefter tweets out, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers has been traded to the San Francisco 49ers, or he has been released, and now he's on the 49ers, whatever." But you know, it's not something that I'm paying attention to.
I'm just saying, stop writing these long damn messages on IG. It's like it ain't meant for that, Aaron. Somebody tell you that wasn't meant for that kind of long, kind of, you know. I'm not even gonna go over and read that thing. You know, stick to them. 149, 160 characters. I mean, if the Berkeley education should have taught you to be concise, something like that. So that's all I'm saying. I agree with you, Youngin. You know, until we make a move, you got to do it. I mean, he is one of the best in the league, but he's not finishing. And the fact that he's got beaten at the crib 2 years in a row with a pretty good team is a problem. He need to write on that and stop writing on this. Let's say this: the verdict is in. You know, Young and you over there in Washtenaw County, the verdict is in. Well, I was in the house. So let me describe the scene. I'm sitting behind the basket opposite of the Michigan bench. Now, with about 3 minutes left, you know, the Badger student section is a funny student section. They'll get along with it. They didn't do a thing that wasn't new, but the timing was great. They started yelling NIT. Now I could tell that was creating something. You know, I had a couple Michigan fans sitting behind me. It was getting tense in there, a little rough. And so I didn't even see the second time out. At first, before I even knew it was what the cause of it was, I was like, well, he called a timeout to get, to give his starters a chance to wave off. But I didn't realize he had called the second timeout. I just was not paying attention. I was gathering all my stuff together. And then next thing I know, people started making noise around me. I look up, and I think I put it out on Twitter. I started videotaping. I'm like, what is going on out here? It looked like one of them fights they used to have at the IM building at CCRB in Ann Arbor. We used to play pickup. I remember my brother and them playing hoop with a couple of Michigan players. Before I know it, we was on the other court balling with Gar Thompson. If y'all know the big time Michigan shooter back in the day, we was balling. We just finished up balling with him, and then my brother and Ifra's over there. Next thing I know, everybody running around the IM building and they battling. So those are kind of fights you get in that kind of gyms. I'm looking up. I'm like, we in the IM building again, not knowing what the cause was until I saw the video. And there's some things in here that I think before we get to the crime, the punishment for the act that were, I believe, missed. And you got to understand this. I know a couple of folks in this park, and everybody's good people. And initially, I was like, "Dang, these are all good people." So assistant coach Krabenhoff actually has put his hands on one of the players. So everybody's like, "Why is Juwan pushing on him?" Well, he put his hand on his player. He got the Papa stuff at him, and he reacted to that. Now I've heard everybody talk about it, but they not noticing the fact that happened. Now I'm not even justifying the swing at all, but the reason why he swung is he thought that the assistant coach touched his player, and when he saw that, that's when he reacted. Should have never happened. So when I looked at this, I thought exactly what I said. I said it's going to be a suspension to the end of the season. I thought that was reason. I was telling people that. Thought that's what's going to happen. But I also thought that guard might have got one game. That's what I thought was going to happen. Well, they brought down the decision. Guard got $10,000 fine, of which McIntosh, the AD, said that Wisconsin going to pay for it. Which that's something I'm not understanding, but that's now I'm understanding. With that, and then we have 3 players who have a 1 game suspension, and obviously Juwan's got the $40,000 fine, and in the suspension through the end of the regular season. But let's get back to this a little bit. I'll start with you, Darnell, because I love to get it because you over there where you get a different perspective being in Washtenaw County. What were your thoughts when you saw it? What have you been hearing on the streets being over there in Ann Arbor?
Well, my thoughts when I saw it, there's two different realities, right? So like me as a coach, cooler heads prevail kind of deal. I'm just like, you just want to shake hands, get on the bus, go home, you know what I'm saying, regroup. But me in the moment watching it, man, I'm ready to slide. I'm ready to slide on Coach Guard, man. I'm ready. I'm ready to get on the. I'm get ready to get on the car and drive up to Madison, man. You know what I'm saying? I was ready to get in that line with him. You know what I'm saying? But I know that's not the right thing. That's not the Pete.
Not the right thing to do. But
yeah,
I
it's not the right
understand.
thing to say. But that's you asked me how I felt in the moment. That's how I felt in the moment. I was ready. I was ready to go. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the actual punishment that was brought down, I think it was the best case scenario. I think everything was handled. I think everything was handled correctly, in my opinion. Like Juwan, this is not the first incident with Juwan. This is his second incident. Yeah. So I think suspending him for the rest of the regular season sends a strong enough message to say, hey, this is your last time, man. You can't do this again. If you do this again, you out of here. But at the same time, he brings enough to the program to where if he was a lesser coach, he would have been fired. Let's just say it like that. But as far as everybody else, Coach Guard, I don't think Coach Guard did enough to warrant a suspension, in my opinion. And I like what Wisconsin did. Like Wisconsin was like, you know what? I believe I really believe this way. I'm standing on my square. You know what I'm saying? You gave
that's how Matt gets down. That's how Matt gets down.
Yeah, I'm standing on my square. This is a Wisconsin suspension. You good? We paying it for you. But as for the players, I mean, hey, I don't want to see them suspended for the rest of the season. You just sit them out 4 games. Just send a message. But I do want to say something about that though. You saw Musa is always ready. You saw Musa in the in the Rutgers game.
Stay
You saw
ready.
Musa in the Michigan State game. You saw Musa in the Wisconsin game. You saw when number 0 touched when tried to put hands on Terrence Williams. He hit him with that Deontay Wilder right hand, and number 0 took off running. He Martin and Martin, he said, Gina, I don't want to fight no more. And number 0 was out of there. So, but man, yeah,
Man, it's not the right thing to do. I was so disappointed, man. I was like, Juwan, just get off the floor. And he was trying to get off the floor. You know, I think the one thing when Guard did the post game trying to explain his reason why, I was like, look, and I was trying to explain this to some folks, you know, because it was like, well, you know, Devon, you from Ann Arbor. No, look, 30 out of 30 times in that situation, most coaches are going to take the violation. When you up 15 points, you ain't worried about your kids being in a bad situation. You take the violation, give them the ball, they run the clock out. Like there are more people who will do what Juwan did in terms of playing to the end of the game than do what Guard did. Just take the violation and then you go on and play. You're winning. And so it was. I'm all for petty though. I'm for petty, and I ain't gonna get bad at it. But it was petty. You don't call a timeout at that point. But at that point, get off the court and let's get home. You know, if you say he don't want to talk to you, let's keep it moving. And it was unfortunate. You know, these two coaches need to get on the phone and have a conversation. They need to get past this. But that's the Big Ten, though. That's the history. You know, what's the cat over there in Iowa, head coach
and to be honest with you, I don't
McCaffrey.
want him to get past it. This is a rivalry. This is something new. You gotta keep this going. You gotta.
But the one thing I said,
remember this.
hey,
I
look,
remember this.
I love both these programs. I love and got great kids and great people. The thing about it is, Juwan can reload. And the thing I was telling folks as they left the stadium, sometimes you gotta let sleeping dogs lie. Juwan is frustrated because he ain't got no point guard. Like to watch Michigan play, and the fact that they can't get in any actions is frustrating. It would frustrate me. I wouldn't go to the point to start putting hands on nobody, but it would frustrate me. But he gonna have a great point guard coming in next year. He reloads, and so you know I don't know if we're gonna get another Johnny Davis over here. So you know, sometimes you just let sleeping dogs lie. You know what I'm saying? He gonna reload, and when he say he remembering this. That's a Southside Chicago memory, and so I don't think people understand he can reload, and I don't think you want to be on the other end of that. Now I think it takes Wisconsin a little longer to reload. He's just gonna reload. So yeah, it could be it could be good, but you know the key players right now, both their key players are leaving.
Yeah, you remember the Wisconsin game last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that could come back.
That's a more likely scenario than the one we just saw because it takes a little longer to reload. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes you gotta let sleeping dogs lie, and that's the part that you sometimes gotta understand. Bite the right dog, not the big dog. And so you know it's one of those scenarios. And so I thought it was a great. The saddest thing about it was Michael Finley. You know, Hammer know this. This is a long time coming, and I wanted to go to Hammer, who's been around long enough to talk about what Michael Finley means to Wisconsin. And that was a special moment. I was so glad to be in the house for that because it's a long time coming. This is long overdue. And so that was lost in all this. And even Juwan, I think, made, talked about that a little bit in his post game, that this was Michael's night. And it just like, we're not even talking about it for someone who is giving so much to the program to Badger basketball as well as the Big Ten legend. Talk a little bit about that. For people who don't really know Michael Finley, Hammer, talk about what Michael Finley means to Wisconsin basketball.
He means he turned Wisconsin basketball around. Wisconsin basketball was a joke for most of the time, and he turned it around along with Rashard Griffin, and also he sacrificed his own career initially. He stayed another year when he really should have turned pro after his junior year.
Yeah,
it cost himself millions of dollars. Basically because he was very loyal to Stu Jackson, loyal to the program. So Yeah, it's a shame that Michael's night wasn't ruined by that mess. I saw all the social media stuff they're talking about it, but we know I saw him reveling in what he should have been, and there's no way that Frank Kaminsky should have been his number retired before Michael Finley. That's a disgrace. But that's the type of lack of leadership that sadly my former institution had. But yeah, Michael, like I said again, is a class act. He's in the NBA now. I think that maybe he might have a coaching future. I don't know, but he's an even keel guy. I remember having Devin Harris there was telling, because Devin Harris, and Michael were together with Mavericks when Devin started his career, and he was a mentor to Devin. He was a class act, never got in trouble, no mess, from the shy suburbs, but not clowning. Again, representing Chicago right, unlike our brother Juwan Howard. But the thing about it was a wonderful night that was ruined by a bunch of mess and ruined by a bunch of classlessness from both sides, really. So,
yeah, I mean these are two programs when you normally without these circumstances you interact with the players on these teams. These young people are really good and great people. They got some really nice players, young folks who are really good people, and to be in this space and I know both both leaders were not happy about this, but we're gonna move on. So we'll keep it going, and we're gonna shake hands. All this not shaking hands stuff, leave that alone. Grown folks get it right, and we're gonna shake hands. This is college sports, and sportsmanship is important. Shake hands, do what you need to do, get it right, and if you don't, you're gonna get that fine and that suspension. You got to stay home and watch and pop popcorn and watch it on ESPN. So that's how we're gonna keep it moving. All right, man. I'm gonna say this: your boy Reddick. I love Reddick on ESPN. And had a chance to watch what he said about Zion. It was everything I felt he said. Not only did he play with him, but he's also a Dookie. So it came. I don't know if you had a chance of hearing what he said, but
that's all.
It's what I've been saying, and it was for him to say it. It's going to bring a lot of credibility to it. I said I've been disappointed in Zion. Very disappointed in this. And it's another example of it feels like, without knowing, so I'm gonna hold my stuff back, but it feels like another example of having folks around you feeding you the wrong stuff, because the right folks around you are not gonna let you pull this kind of stuff.
Literally feeding the wrong stuff.
Literally. Like every time I watch that Mountain Dew commercial, I'm like, you don't need a Mountain Dew break. You need a diet Mountain Dew break, and I'm a big fella, but I ain't get paid that much. If I get paid that much money, I'm in the gym, and it's like, and he feels like a cat who's being passive aggressive. Now, does he stay here? No, he don't need to stay here, but he in a very crazy place, and I just, with a city like New Orleans who deserves better. So I said all I need to say about it. But you said you heard it. I'm gonna start with you, Hammer. Like, what do you do about the situation?
Well, you get him healthy, you get him out of there. I mean, he doesn't want to be there. I think it's quite clear, when the lottery happened and draft happened, he didn't want to be in New Orleans. He wants to be in New York. He wants to be with RJ Barrett, and he's never embraced him. He played great last year. Only missed 11 games out of 72 games, but now this year, he's big as a bull. And he ain't drinking diet anything. He's drinking, Mountain Dew Plus. So it's just, but the only thing I ain't like about Rec is that, again, you guys are athletes, I'm not, but I wouldn't have told the intricacies of the locker room like that. That's the only thing that kind of bothered me with Rec. I was surprised that he actually talked about, the sacred locker room and basically how he calls Zion out. That's something you really shouldn't be bringing to the forefront. That's supposed to be a sacred space in a sense. So, I mean, I admire for Reg to be real about it, but also, I know the kind of culture of the NBA. You're not supposed to be telling people's dirt like that. So That tells me JJ is really upset, and JJ's got intel, and we know Zion's 3 bills or more, and the fact he's in Oregon, ain't much to do in Oregon but eat, and watch the scenery. And so, yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that he's checked out. He's having another surgery probably. He's gonna be out for the year. And it's just a shame because last year he showed great potential. Potential, just start with 27, 6 and 7 and 6. I mean, that's no joke. And that size, unbelievable. 280, unbelievable. But obviously, his body broke down this year, and he's paying for it. So he's got to get down to 250 in order to be, I think, a legitimate player in the NBA. So.
Yeah, and I think part of what he came is like, look, this young man done cost 2 coaches their job. And other players have got thrown on the bus. I think at a certain point he was like, forget this.
Yeah.
You know, not, and everybody else is taking the blame. He taking none of it. And he's got a responsibility. All right, youngin.
So I disagree with what Hammer says as far as JJ Redick and him violating locker room code, because in my opinion, what all JJ was saying was all he was saying was, I'm telling you, I'm showing you this about his personality and the way he was in the locker room, but what I'm telling you is it was something that I personally addressed with him when I was a teammate of his. Like, it's not like I'm talking about him behind his back. This is what I told him, what I'm saying, when I was with him. It's not like I'm just saying this now and I wasn't trying to do anything to help the situation when I was there. That's pretty much what he was saying. But I agree.
Why didn't he say this 2 years ago? Why did he say this 2 years ago?
He did say this 2 years ago. That's what he's telling you now. He's telling you that he told him that.
Telling you now about what he should have said 2 years ago.
He wasn't a media. He wasn't a media member 2 years ago. He was a teammate 2 years ago. He's not going to. And when you're a teammate, you're not going to tell the media. Oh,
he was doing freelancing like Draymond Green. He was doing guest appearances. Let me finish. He was doing guest appearances like Brian Clark did during his career. So let's not be disingenuous here now. He had access to the media before he became a full-fledged member. And so,
but that's what I'm saying. He wasn't a full-fledged member. It's a different cut. It's a different cut when you're a current player than when you're fully a member of the media. Like if I'm on the team, I'm not going to.
Brian Clark was calling cats out when he was playing with the Steelers, and so.
And that's why. And that's why
I think that when somebody has a persona. I mean, JJ's supposed to be the nice guy and blah blah blah. I mean, one thing that I'll say that shows this shows you the authentic Duke person and the non-authentic Duke person. JJ stayed there 4 years. JJ cares about Duke. Duke was just a pass-through for Zion to get his money, to get his big contract. So I think that's a dynamic that we're not talking about. That who's a real Dookie? And really, JJ was there 4 years, balled out.
Well, it's a different culture. No, you're talking about the one and done guy versus a guy that was really a part of fully a part of the program. But if I'm talking about actually what Zion, in his attitude, he clearly doesn't want to be there. We knew this back when little stories was coming out saying that he was falling asleep during film sessions and stuff like that. Like, he's always been sending these messages that, like, he's not going to say it outright, but he's letting his actions show. Like, actions speak louder than words, that he doesn't want to be there. And sooner or later he's gonna leave, and that's
the problem. You point out something but that's still a problem. Like, why is that okay? Like, why is it okay for you to sleep? Why is it okay for you to sleep? That's what I'm saying. And like, and then you get to go do what you want to do. Come on, man. Like, you and Ja from the same piece, and he ended up in Memphis and he just grinding, and you over here just what? Like, play your contract out. You don't want to resign. Go somewhere else. But play your contract out and go somewhere else. Like what happened to just play and then let the chips fall where they may? Like, not that many people get a choice to even go to the league. And then you gonna act a fool like that, and that's okay? Fall asleep in film session? That's why JJ got on you. That's not professional.
They come from two different worlds. You said they come from the same. Well, they do come from the same world, but they was treated differently. One, there was when they made their secondary move, but because Zion, he was the number one player in the country. You know what I'm saying? He was highly recruited. He went to Duke. John
But I'm
Morant,
sure.
yeah,
I'm sure.
John
Well, I
Morant,
was
yeah,
around.
he
Coach
was on
K
the
wasn't putting that up. I was
John
out in
Morant.
Maui.
John Morant.
He wasn't getting away with that.
Let me finish. Let me
Okay.
finish. John Morant. He was
No stars.
he was a 0-star. They found out about John Morant when they was out there trying to scout Zion. They was out there looking for Zion and just saw John Morant as a byproduct of that. And he still, he had to work his way. He didn't he wasn't a one and done either. He played he actually played 2 years at Murray State if I'm correct.
3 years.
But yeah, I think he played 2 years at Murray State. But he had a whole different path, so he has that. I don't want to say, well, I guess it's proven now because it seemed like when Zion first came out, it seemed like he did have that grit. You know what I'm saying? But it's showing that maybe the Hollywood has gotten to him.
Yeah, you're right. Something got to him because he didn't feel like I didn't spend that much time around. But watching him you could see a lot in that week in Maui, and you could see the focus. You could see him put it together. And I was like, okay, this kid, he got some junkyard dog in him. And you right, maybe got real Hollywood out there. But like, and maybe he get a little frustrated with the injuries and he doesn't know how, whatever it is, maybe he in depression, whatever it is, but he's got to find his way back.
It's
And
definitely
go ahead.
No, I'm saying there's definitely could be some mental health things going on because we talk about Ben Simmons, we talking about Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan, all that kind of stuff. But this is a guy that he hasn't been able to play basketball for a long time. He's the butt of everybody. He's the butt of everybody. Joke on social media. You see that stuff all the time. So, yeah, there could be some mental health stuff going on, some depression stuff going on that's compounding the issue as well.
Yeah, I mean that's part of it, and hopefully, CJ's the right person for him in his life right now. Because I think CJ got the right temperament. He got the right stuff. If he allows for someone like CJ to mentor him, he can make his way back. But he's got to lean into somebody, huh?
CJ McCollum broke his foot twice. You're talking about foot injuries, yeah.
Yeah, you can get back on this, and so I think CJ's got the right temperament, and I think he's got that. But hopefully that's something that will get him right on the right. And I want it back because I think he can get. I think he got it to get there. He got it to get to where his body was. I mean, Barkley started out that way. Sometimes you just got to get where you got to get in shape. Like there's a number of players who started in that space. I mean, when we think about Embiid, figuring out the diet part, getting out of the burgers, the injuries. So you can either lean into it or you can lean away from it. But all of that requires you to get around the right people. And
but Charles wasn't hurt like Zion.
Yeah, but the scary thing about
hurt in high school. I mean, he's been hurt all his career, man.
Yeah, but the scary thing about Zion is compared to Embiid, Zion's whole, I'm not gonna say his whole game, but most of his game is built off just him being crazy explosive, one of the best athletes you've ever seen in your life. Like the crazy thing is I saw a video a couple days ago of Zion when he was at Duke just in warm-ups. His whole chin over the rim. I'm like, oh my goodness. But like, what happens when that starts to fade, and especially now when you're coming off the foot injuries, the knee injuries, you can't jump like you used to jump. You can't. You don't have that same explosion. He doesn't. Where is the next step in his skill development? Because you saw with Joel Embiid, he's worked on his game so much as far as a skill development perspective, where he has other things to go to other than his just like physical dominance.
To tell you the truth, when I saw Zion in Maui, that wasn't what part of impressed me. What impressed me is his ball handling, his decision making, the way he set people up. I mean, he's got more to his game than people really understand. He needs to figure out how to turn those pieces on. But those aren't things he needs to. He can improve them. But what I was impressed when I saw him up close was his ball handling and his ability to go, and his jump shot was improving. You can work on that. I think his jump shot can get where it needs to go. So I think his ability to get there is. I think if he works on it, he can get there. He he was more of a guard when he was younger anyway. So he had some ball handling skills that I think allow him to get to spots. I think people are so enamored with his explosiveness. It's out there, but the part that excited me when I watched him in Mali was his ball handling and his decision making and his court awareness.
I think you're downplaying his athleticism because
no, I think his athleticism is great. No, I'm not downplaying it. What I'm saying is that's not all he has. I think people look at it and say that's all he has. What I'm saying is he got more in his toolkit, and y'all ain't even seen it. Because when I saw him up close, I saw somebody who could ball handle. I saw somebody who could make good decisions. I saw somebody who could actually run as a point forward. And I saw somebody whose jump shot was improving. So, but I think he's an incredible athlete. But I don't think that's all he got in his bag.
Other than Michael Jordan, he is the quickest jumper that I've ever seen. And it's crazy because when you talk about Michael Jordan, everybody talks about how high he jumps. But the thing that made Michael Jordan so crazy is Michael Jordan got off the ground quicker than anybody else could get off the ground, and he had that hang time. And Zion, he's not as quick as Michael Jordan because Michael Jordan's 60 pounds lighter. So but still for his size, Zion could get off the ground immediately, and then as soon as his feet touch the ground, he can get right back up, and he'll miss a shot and be right back in the air, and just like that, just a snap of a finger. It's like, man, that's just the extra edge that he had. I know he does have skills. You saw it last year as well. They were running the offense through Zion as the point forward, and Lonzo is pretty much just standing off in the corner for most of the season. So he does have that extra skill set, but
you got to be on the court to develop it, right? The problem that we haven't seen it expand because he don't have that much court time to really be working on it and doing it. So
he's been in the food court. That's where he's been at. He's been in the food court. That's where he's been. That's the problem. He's been in the food court.
when he was ordered, I'm like, man, this is stuff I would do because I'm old and I need to be on myself. But they say he was ordering them big pizzas. He's supposed to be working with the LSU guy training them. I mean, eating disorders are something, and so he got to figure out. He got to get with it and get off the map. That's why I think CJ is there's a blessing in that with CJ joining him. And if he ends up going somewhere else and he's successful, he's gonna think the time he spent with CJ McCallum. That's what he gonna think the time that he spent with him, because that is somebody who has the potential to make a difference in his life. But we'll keep track of that. Y'all made this fun, man. A lot of stuff happening here. We gonna get out of this. And then we're going to get into a little bit of what's happening in the Cypher. Man, so there's been a lot of debate about this NBA 75, the top 10 folks. So I wanted to jump into these guys' mind because, Hammer going to say something that's going to make some crazy stuff happen. So I thought this would be fun. And then, Darnell going to have to try to bring us all back to our senses. So this is a good thing for us to talk about right now. So I'm going to start with Hammer because I want him to take us all the way out to wherever he's going to take us about this. But if you had to take somebody, do you have somebody who's outside the top 10 that you would put in the top 10? And if you did, who would you replace them with?
I'm looking at the list right now. So, list right now. You got a copy of the list? I'm sorry, I got the list.
Now you do your homework. That's
my homework.
I'll go to Darnell.
So the top 10 is pretty solid to me.
I got to put my stuff.
You're trying to pull it up. Okay, but for me the top 10 is pretty solid. But for me the top 10 is pretty, in my opinion, is dependent on the criteria. If we're talking about accolades and career, I have a top 10. But my top 10 is completely different if we're just talking about the top 10 best players. But if we're going by the top 10 best careers, you know what I'm saying, the best resume, I think the top 10 is pretty accurate. The only switch up, if I were to had to make a switch up, I would have to put Shaq in there over Oscar. But that's tough because Oscar was he had one of the greatest careers. Like he averaged 30-point triple double for like 3 years straight. So you can't go wrong with anybody in that top 10. But if there was a move I would make, I'd say Shaq. I'll have Shaq in there. But like I said, in my opinion, there's two different lists. If I'm talking about the best player, just the best players overall, I might have like a Kevin. I might have to have a guy like Kevin Durant or Steph Curry in there. But their list is solid, in my opinion.
So to help you out, Hammer, at 10 we got Kobe. At 9 we got Oscar. At 8 we got Tim Duncan. At 7 we got Larry Bird. At 6 we got Bill Russell. At 5 we got Wilt. At 4 Magic. At 3 Kareem. And then LeBron, and then Michael. And so outside at 11, I believe they have Shaq at 11. Let me see. I'll go up here. We got Shaq at 11. We got Kevin Durant at 12. We got Olajuwon, who I think people can make a case about Olajuwon being in that top 10 when you're thinking about it. You got
I would definitely.
You got Doc at 14. You got Moses Malone at 15. Steph at 16. Dirk at 17. Giannis at 18, which I think he'll move up. Jerry West at 19. Jerry West has moved down the list when you think about lists. Jerry was a perennial top 10 person on a list for a long time. Elgin Baylor was in a top 10 list. He's moved down to 20. So you can see how some of the, especially people like KD and Steph and things. So as you start to look, as we get to the, what you say?
No, I was going to say, some reasons why that could happen is twofold. One, you have the evolution of the game. Players getting a lot more skilled, a lot more. Got a lot more talented players playing the game today. But also, I think another reason that is the media as well.
Yeah.
The demographic in the media that's voting on these things are changing as well. Because if you ask anybody, any media member, who's the greatest of all time in any sport, it's whoever was the best player in the 90s. It's just the way it is. If he was the best player in the 90s or the 80s, that was the best player of all time. And if you rewind 10, 20 years, you ask the same you ask a different the media of that day, who is the greatest of all time? Oh, who was the best in the 70s? So you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So as that natural progression happens, the guys that were the best of the 70s and the 60s, they start to slide further and further back because the media members that vote are, some guys are dying off that really grew up and, cherish the memories of watching these guys. And that really, when we watched did you watch the Ultimate Draft that TNT did?
I watched a little bit, but I was moving around, so I didn't get. I was towards the end, so I didn't get all of it.
Yeah, but one thing I want to say is, it was very interesting to see like the different perspectives of the people drafting those players, and to see Jerry West, because Jerry West, he's been around the game forever, so he knows in depth about all these guys like Bill Sharman, Sam Jones, Paul Arizin. Like he can break down their whole entire game, stuff like that. And I think that's leaving as far as like the media members, like they never seen Bill Sharman, you know what I'm saying? They can't tell you anything about that, and that's why these guys are sliding a little bit.
Yeah, I mean Barkley is, and I think Barkley's way too low, but they got Barkley down at 22. 22. I'm like, that's way too low for Barkley.
So you're talking about the ESPN? You're talking about the ESPN list, okay?
Yeah, ESPN.
I thought the NBA had a list on its own. That's what.
No, they didn't list theirs.
ESPN did their little list, and
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know who I would replace with whom, so you know who I think is not a top 10 player from your home state. So, because of defense, I mean, I would replace Magic with Elijah Wan, no question. So, again, you tell you want
You
to.
can't
Magic
drop
Johnson
Magic out the
did
top
not
10.
play defense.
You can't
He's
drop
not
Magic out the top 10.
Did not play defense.
If he ain't had no one block shot, you can't drop Magic out the top 10. I mean,
Dude.
Russell ain't got no offense. Russell ain't got no offense. So
I would have Russell in the top 10.
Bill Russell. Wait. This goes back to the conversation I had when I just started to talk about my list. I have two lists. There's a list of people with accomplishments and the list of the very best players. So, like, if we look at Bill Russell's game, right, and look at any top center today, it's going to be different because Bill Russell shot under 50% for his career, and that's crazy to me for a center. But at the end of the day, I got to give him his respect because in his day, he won 11 championships. You know, he was the anchor of that defense. He was matched up with Wilt Chamberlain. You know what I'm saying? So I got to give him that.
Yeah, the league was 16 teams, whatever. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I had to give him his respect. You know what I'm saying? So I can't.
I give respect too. He's not a top 10 player though. It's different. I mean, we're talking about. I ain't saying he's out of the top 75. I'm saying top 10.
Top 10 career versus top 10 player. He has a top 10 career.
But on either list, Magic is in the top 10 on either one of those lists.
11 or 12, man. That defense. The dude had the worst defender of anybody in that list. The worst defender.
He's a team defender. He's nowhere to be.
Never played defense. He was
because he was making sure he was taking care of
that made his offense better.
It was showtime, not row time.
Yeah, it was showtime precisely. Now the defense.
You talk about people who changed the game.
You talk about somebody
there's before Magic and there's after Magic.
You think Damian Lillard was a better defender than Magic Johnson?
No, I'm not saying that.
He's on the list.
Not top. I mean, he's like what? 35? What is he?
No, he's at the bottom. He's like 70-something.
70-something. Yeah. Well, I ain't saying that. I'm saying
like Dirk Nowitzki. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Dirk didn't play no D.
Dirk Nowitzki. I don't think Dirk Nowitzki's 17 too. That's too high. That's ridiculous. Steph is ranked a little too low. Moses is getting this. Moses up there. Moses, phenomenal player.
Steph don't play no D sometimes. Like
Steph does play. I gotta push back on this.
And then Kobe should be higher.
Kobe should be higher. But Steph plays defense. Steph really does play defense.
He tries.
He's good defense.
He tries to play defense. He does, but
like they all try.
That's different.
Where's Clay? Where's Clay on this
list?
He's not
on the list. Clay should be on. He's not on the list.
Clay's not on the list.
He's not on the list.
That's bogus. Clay is one of the best two-way players in basketball. So that's what I'm telling you. He wanted to, yeah.
But he been gone for a while.
You know what happened? Hey, Carl, you know what happened? The original top 50 stayed no matter what, and they just added 25 on top of it. So that's why Klay Thompson didn't make it. Dwight Howard didn't make it. Kyrie Irving didn't make it. There's a lot of guys didn't make the list, and somehow Damian Lillard made it.
So when we get to we're gonna get to the top 100 here. You know, hopefully, Lord willing, we'll be able to see the list together. Who you think gonna crash that top 10? How that top 10 gonna change? Because I mean, we done dropped Barkley. Like there was a time where Barkley was somewhere near the top 10. Now he at 22. Havlicek way down there. I mean, the list is changing. It's back to what you were saying, Darnell. How we start to see and how it shifts. I think the way you broke that down was brilliant because I think that's going to shift in the next 25 years, right? Whoever played in the 90s and the 2000s, right? But so. You know, who do you see breaking in at top 10? I mean, Giannis is probably going to be in that top 10.
Elijah Wan's a breaking top 10. People don't realize Elijah Wan's game, all around part of his game. This guy, quintuple double, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a phenomenal statistic. So, I think that definitely Durant is going to get. Once Durant gets healthy,
Durant and Stephen Curry.
Yeah, and Steph Curry should be the top 10, like I said before. And, the people like, the people that I question they'll be the top 10 will be Magic, even though he'll be there, but he shouldn't be there.
All the older folks are going. They
I'm trying to think who else. Russell. I think Russell should be out. I don't think Larry should be up there.
Yeah,
Duncan should. Duncan's phenomenal. I think Oscar's people starting to look at his game differently. So
people crack me up when they're trying to challenge Duncan. I'm like, have y'all lost? Y'all on crack? He actually should be higher.
I told somebody, you know this. I told somebody Duncan was better than Magic, and we got a huge brawl.
Yeah, so
a huge brawl. I told him I would take Duncan over Magic any day of the week.
One predictor about this is I'll take it to boxing. I always talk about boxing, but look at it depends on who you're talking to, but if you look at like any mainstream media outlet, like maybe like a ESPN or something like that not the hardcore fan, because the hardcore fans, they're gonna have Henry Armstrong, Benny Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson. But if you go to ESPN gonna say Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali. They're gonna say Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Carlos Monzo, Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? But they always forget about the Sugar Ray Robinsons, the Henry Armstrongs. I think it's gonna be a similar way for this, because you're hardcore guys. There's always gonna be the niche hardcore guys are gonna say, you know what, Wilt Chamberlain was still Wilt Chamberlain. I'm still gonna keep him there. Like guys like me, I'm never gonna drop Wilt Chamberlain out my top 10. But ESPN might drop an Oscar Robertson out their top 10. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the way things go.
And they need to start putting some respect on my boy Zeke's name. Put him down at 27. Man, y'all better start thinking differently.
That's right. That's a little high.
They should be higher, Chicago guy.
A small man. He's Detroit. He's Detroit.
He's Detroit. As a point guard leading his team. Come on, man. They better get it right. And you talk about somebody playing defense and offense, Mr. Playing both sides of the dang ball.
Offense. I know he played defense.
Playing both sides of the dang ball. Aren't you the one saying play both sides of the dang ball?
He played both sides of the ball.
So you can't got your tongue?
No, I don't think. Again, I can name some of the players who played.
Zeke sacrificed scoring to win. He could have been scoring more. He could have been 25, 26, 27 game, but he wanted to win.
That wasn't he distributed basketball, man. He distributed basketball.
Breaking ankles. I think he's still trying to bless it. Breaking ankles. Handles still tight up in here. Paying homage. So, yeah, you're right. It's going to be interesting. I think this 101 is going to create – it's going to be the most debated list, I predict, because of what you're saying, Darnell. I think there's going to be – you're going to have some generational wars going on.
Yeah.
Luka's going to be on the list. Luka's going to be on the list, definitely. I don't think Luka's – again, Luka's going to be on there. Defense.
Jokic is going to be on
there. He played
no defense. He's going to be on the list. Like, who are they kicking out? That's going to be the
Ja's going to be on there. I mean, the way he's going, Ja's going to be on
there. As a tricky career, Kawhi Leonard, because Kawhi Leonard,
Kawhi going to be on there, man.
No, he's on there right now. Kawhi's on there right now.
Yeah.
He's like 34. But
they're going to keep everybody the same rules, right? They're going to keep whoever the 75 were, right? They're going to stay on the list.
I'm not saying he drops out, but I'm saying like he has a tricky career because he has the accolades. Like he has the Finals MVPs. He has 2 Finals MVPs. He has the Defensive Player of the Year. He has those awards. But if you look at his, because a lot of fans and media, they look at counting stats, and his counting stats are not up there because he misses a lot of games. He's always injured. So when you look at the all-time list, some guys are gonna say, you know what, Kawhi Leonard has less career points than Kyle Lowry or something like that, and they're trying to discredit him. But at the same time, you say, well, this guy was the Finals MVP on 2 different teams. Like he was that guy. You know what I'm saying? One of the best, if not the best, two-way player in the league.
And Chris Paul's too low. That's too low. D Wade's too low.
D Wade's below Chris Paul.
And Scottie Pippen's way too low. 32? That's a joke. And Kawhi's at 33. He should be.
Kawhi's at 33.
No, you say Dominique should be much lower. Dominique And Nash should be lower. Barry should be lower.
They got
McHale
Kawhi.
should be higher. McHale is a much better.
They have Kawhi and Scottie Pippen right next to each other. Who do you think should be higher on the list?
Man, Scotty all day. And Walton, like I said, I question him on the list because you look at stats and you look at, talent, yeah, but he was broken down most of his career.
Devon, I'm going to ask you the same question. Scottie Pippen or Kawhi, who should be higher on the list?
Man,
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. I would say Scotty, because I would say Scotty had to be thrust in the limelight longer than Kawhi. Kawhi was allowed to marinate. Scotty had to jump in and deal with the migraines right away. But Scotty had to be the lead in the limelight for longer.
The lead,
and was perennial.
You said he had to be in the lead.
I said he had to be in the limelight in his. He's on he's had some of the greatest runs. He was a key player in the greatest runs. If you look at it, they wouldn't have those championships. You got to think about Scotty going on Magic, created it. They when Scotty got on Magic, it was Operation Shutdown, and so I think that Scotty playing the point forward, doing everything else. On one of the perennial teams of all time, you got to get that love. It's a tough one. They're both great players, so we're not talking about it. But I would you got Dream Team Scotty, all the stuff I would want to say about me. I'm a Piston guy, but I got to keep it real. I would say I would have Scotty slightly over Kawhi.
To be honest with you, I'll go the opposite way because just from what you said when he took the lead, and that's the thing that sticks out to me. When Scotty took the lead, he sat on the bench and he pouted when the play wasn't drawn up for him. And when Kawhi took the lead, he took the Raptors to the finals and they won the finals. And
Kawhi was also one of them early cats. The play hurt so bad that San Antonio, they had all that crazy stuff and they had to trade him.
He was hurt though.
He was hurt. He was here. We asking questions like we was asking questions about that situation like we was asking about Ben Simmons. Everybody wasn't quite sure what was going on. Pop was saying one thing, he was saying the other. So he's had those situations as well, and then he ain't been healthy.
One person on the 75 top 10 who should not be Carmelo Anthony. That's a disgrace. He's a top 7.
Top 10. He's on the top 10.
No, I said top 75.
Oh, Carmelo is clearly top 75. What are you talking about?
No defense.
Oh, come on,
defense.
Man. Remember?
Wait a minute. You can't have Dirk on there talking about no defense.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think Dirk should be.
You can't have James Harden on there talking about defense. Like James,
I think he should be. He barely should make it. Dirk, yeah, barely should make it. But Carmelo should not
barely make it. I don't know.
What are we talking about, man?
Barely make it. He played no defense.
What are you talking about? Carmelo was number one for most of his career early on, was the number one person on the scouting report. When you started with his team, you started with Carmelo.
Non-defense.
You didn't go nowhere else. You could, and he was in his bag on you. He was in his bag, carrying them Denver teams. Nah, man.
Carrying them to off-season without championship.
In the West, where you had all those dominant power forwards, and he still was that dog. Take it from a guy who wished we would have drafted him.
Y'all took Darko. Darko.
Crazy. Now, how high should he be on the list? You can debate that, but not be on the list? Oh, man. You got it. Yeah.
I'm glad they have him at 69. That shows you ESPN knows that 60 that makes me feel, even though I don't think she's been on the list, the 69, because like some people like Barkley's too high on the list. I'm sorry. Charles is too high on the list.
How is he too high? Playing offense and defense and carrying teams. Like, you are inconsistent with your evaluation. Like,
wasn't a great outside shooter, man. Wasn't a great outside shooter.
What do you mean? He was hitting threes at the end. How did he get the game?
At the end,
Barkley was an outside shooter. Nobody was an outside. He's a power forward. They weren't really.
I'll take D Wade over Charles any day.
You
There's
are
no way D
crazy.
Wade should be lower than Charles. No way.
You crazy. I think you forget how good Barkley was.
No,
I mean, we get on
know
TV and
Barkley
see
was a
who he is.
phenomenal player. I never forget.
On both ends. He
I'll
was leading.
tell you a story about my
At
late
what,
father.
6'4" was he lead? Did he lead the league in rebounds?
Yes, he did.
At
I'm not talking
6'4"?
about that.
What are
I'm
we
talking about
talking
the fact
about?
that-
You talk about people playing defense. He leading the league in rebounds at his height.
Man,
Come on, man.
he wasn't no
What are we
complete
talking
player,
about?
man. Wasn't no complete player.
Complete player? How more complete can you be? He can do it on offense, and he's on defense, a force, rebounding,
jump shooter,
protecting the rim
bruh.
at
He wasn't
6'4".
no
He's not a jump shooter. He's
He wasn't no jump shooter, man.
Well,
What? How did he knock Utah out?
Yeah,
What did he do to
shot
knock
there,
Utah
yeah.
out?
I'm talking about consistent. He's not a consistent jumper. You know that.
but we gotta be consistent then. If we saying people are not a consistent jump shooter, Scottie Pippen wasn't no consistent jump shooter.
Yes.
He shot better than Charles.
I don't know if he was better than Charles. Charles got a better jump shot than you think. Watch the highlights. I mean, Hammer, you reaching. 6'4", leading the league in rebounds. He was a force on offense.
That's what you talking about. Yeah, I give him pride. He was one of the
Throwing
best.
down like Barkley.
Probably second best rebounder ever.
You should get 10 points with
compared to Rodman.
Chuck
Rodman
D
was the best
call you.
rebounder. Rodman's the best rebounder. He's number 2, bro.
You should get 10. You should jump up 4 points.
Phenomenal score. Knew how to use his body, but
you should move up 5 slots.
If you need a bucket from outside, come on, man. You tell me you
throw
don't
it
go
down
over
like
Chuck
Barkley
outside?
Yes, they wasn't pawing off him like he Ben Simmons.
I didn't see that.
You had to
I didn't see that ball series. That's what I'm going to Dan Murray.
He was getting when he woke up and realized Mike was using him, he started giving him the business. He was hitting them jump shots to the point y'all was like, we got to foul him.
He had to wake up. Yeah, that's the problem.
He was hitting them jump shots and talking junk. So y'all people sleep on Barkley
and lost the series.
On that. Huh?
Yeah. And lost the series. Talking junk, lost the series.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You killing me, man. I can't even follow your logic no more. Help me out, young. I'm trying to follow logic.
I want complete players, man. I want complete players.
So where does Jokic?
Michael Jeffrey Jordan, LeBron James, Tim Duncan. I want complete player. I want guys who can do it all.
Where does Jokic stack up on the list? Well,
that's interesting. That's gonna be an interesting debate. I mean, I don't know how good or bad is his defense. See, I don't really know his defense. So.
Well, if you look at the advanced metrics, he's near the top of the league in defensive rating this year.
Really? Okay.
He's
gonna be up there.
He's really improved his defense ever since Draymond called.
He's gonna be up because he's lost weight too, and he's gotten better shape. He's gonna be high up there, man. He's a phenomenal passer, good shooter, rebounder. I mean, he can do it all. I mean, he's someone I'm really going. Like I said, he's gonna shoot through the stratosphere for me. Seeing his game, especially, and someone like Duncan. Like I said, I'm glad we believe the same about Duncan, and people dissing Duncan. Oh, he ain't that good, man. I'm like, what are you talking about? He ain't that good. So
yeah,
I mean,
I think Jokic will be. By the time they get to this list, I think Jokic will be in the top 30.
Yeah, top 30.
By the time he gets this list, if he keeps doing the way he's doing it.
Yeah.
And if he wins a championship,
Luka's going to be too high.
If he wins a championship,
Luka's going to be too high, though. That's the problem. Luka's going to be too high because it's going to be Showtime Luka. That's all.
If he don't win, he'll be down there where Harden is right now.
Where does Embiid end up?
Embiid going to be in the top 10, top 15. I mean, top 15.
Top 10.
He'll be in the top 15.
Too many injuries. Top 30.
If he wins the championship with the work he's doing right now, he's gonna be in the top 15, top 10, top 15. I mean, a top 15. I'm gonna say top 10.
Like I said, I got 2 lists. I got the guys with the best careers.
Because he played offense and defense.
Players, and Joel Embiid. There was not too many centers that are more skilled than Joel Embiid.
Oh, again, it's not a skill set. He's one of the best skilled centers ever. That's not the issue. It's just availability is part of ability. He's not available. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, and like you talk about Zion, for example,
Yep.
people had him pegged the next Zion. He was 300 pounds, even though he was 7 foot. I'm like, Zion being 6'6". I mean, I thought he would be a toll bust. I remember he was drafted. I was like, man, Philly BSing, man.
Then if you talk about availability, you can't put Kawhi over Pippen.
I'll put Pippen over Kawhi. Definitely.
Oh, I'm saying.
He had Pippen over Kawhi.
Okay.
I was talking.
Yeah,
I
over
was going
Kawhi.
to the other way because
Okay.
Totally
Yeah.
disrespecting this list. They totally disrespecting this list, man. He didn't show up. He didn't need to show up. He showed out when he played, man. That brother's bad.
he didn't show up. It
He
seemed like
showed out.
And he
He
also
showed out.
Yeah. We talking about availability. He'll catch a migraine in a minute.
Yeah, some of these Celtics will be blocked up, like Robert Parrish.
Yeah,
will be falling
Sam
off the list.
Jones. I mean, that they're going.
Sam Jones is bad.
Cowens is too high. Cowens is too high. I think that's a joke. I mean, Cowens wasn't that good. I mean,
we got a lot of Celtics on here, and some of them gonna start falling off. Yeah, they're gonna start
like
falling.
Arnzen. Anybody know those cats? Arnzen.
All Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, I know who he is, but I'm like, ain't nobody. But man, like I said, there's Dis and Sky in this list, man. You know.
Yeah. This is great.
They're like ex ESPN people they fired, I guess. Shoot. they got PP down there, what, 62? He better than that. That's ridiculous. 62? Nah, you know what they put in there? Bad judgment? Yeah, he had bad judgment. Not on the court. Off the court, yeah. That's crazy.
Well, y'all, this is good. This has been good work here. Good.
Y'all love some Magic Johnson, though, man. I know y'all watching that series on HBO Max. Or?
I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that.
I heard Magic don't want you to watch that. That's the type of Magic you want to see.
Well, we heard about that. I'm gonna watch it. It's one of those binge watches I'm gonna do. You know how that is. Well, this has been fun, y'all. This has been, it's been good because we kind of just been throwing these topics up and letting it flow. We finding our flow. This has just been fun to talk about these things, get your opinion.
Yeah, y'all made me think there was like an NBA list. I was like, huh?
Yeah, we'll do that. We're gonna drop the mic. We're gonna drop the mic, y'all. We're gonna hold it down. Please go to Real Sports Guys on all our platforms, realsportsguys.com. Check out all the stuff. We got stuff up there. We got a lot of content, a lot of stuff going on. Check it out. If you see something you like, give us a like, give us a 5, give us some love. We appreciate it. But we're gonna close out here with the drop the mic. We're gonna hit over here to Hammer. We always start in Chicago and work our way on over. So what's up, Hammer?
What's up is that I'm very disappointed in Dwan Howard. Disrespecting the South Side. This is what they expect us in the South Side. People were saying this on Twitter, that this is how the South Side jungle and all these racial characters they were doing. Man, Jawan, you've been blessed, bruh. $100 million in your career. I remember seeing you downtown after you got drafted, smiling because you were out the hood. You were in the Mag Mile chilling, walking down, with all type of money in your pocket. And so represent, Jawan. Again, represent the South Side. We got enough problems. I'm here in Chicago right now. We got enough problems every day. You know this, bruh. They look at the South Side and they laugh at the South Side. They think we're raggedy. I remember when I was at Stanford in the statistics class, we were talking about the glucose level in cockroaches in the South Side of Chicago compared to others. Real talk. This is real. This is how the South Side is being treated, and this is 30 years ago. And so, brother, you aren't just representing Jawan Howard. You representing the whole hood, man. And again, you came from the hood. You made it. You did your thing. Now you up here embarrassing us and clowning and fighting over some timeouts and some 10-second calls, bro. And clowning with Turgeon too. You gonna end up like Turgeon if you don't watch out, bro. I mean, you are on no tolerance. You are on your last strike, bro. And again, I'm gonna call you lucky you didn't get asked on this one. Because if you had landed that, bro, you would have been out, bro. And then also, let's keep it real too. We ain't fighting like that in Chicago with no hands. Like, come on now, bro. That's like 80s and not 70s fighting in Chicago. So you ain't representing right. So again, brother, Jawan, get it together, man. Your son's coming next year. You know, you got a team that's totally underachieved. I told you, fools go. I told y'all on this show. I told y'all all those suspects, not suspects, on Michigan. And what's happening? Bucky is taking it to him. Bucky was 11th in the preseason in the Big Ten, and now they're 11th in the country. Come on now. So again, Jawan, wake up and represent the South Side right. Peace.
All right. Message to Juwan. All right, youngin. What's the word?
He said Jawan not repping Chicago right. He should have pulled out the piece on him. he said
This is why we let Amber go first, man. This is why we let her go first, man.
All right, my drop the mic in honor of Tuesday. They call it Tuesday. This is February 22nd, 2022. They call it Tuesday. So in honor of Tuesday, I'm gonna talk about Sir Charles Woodson, the only defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy. Juwan Howard, not Juwan Howard. We've been talking about Juwan Howard all day, man. Charles Woodson in 1997, Michigan won they shared the national championship with Nebraska. We always talk about they won the national championship. It was a shared national championship. It ain't no real. I'm not gonna. I digress. Charles Woodson was the epitome of a playmaker. They called Michael Irvin the playmaker, but Charles Woodson, he was a guy that can give it to you any way that you wanted to. Offense, defense, special teams. He could take an interception 75 yards for a touchdown. He could take a punt. He could take a punt return for a touchdown. He could do whatever you needed, and he was okay. So one of my friends' podcasts, they always do the whole thing where they do who is your all time offense, pretty much. Who's your quarterback? Who's your X? Who's your Z? If I'm creating my all time defense, Charles Woodson is going to be one of the corners. He's going to be in that defensive backfield. Him in prime. My safety is going to be Ed Reed and Ronnie Lott. But yeah, so I got to talk about Charles Woodson on this Tuesday. One of the greats. Drop the mic.
All right. Aside, as I mentioned earlier, from all the commotion that happened in the Kohl Center, it was just great that Michael Finley was finally honored. He gave Badger fans everything they could handle and want during his time as a Badger. As Hammer talked about it, he helped to put it on the map. He was a young cat that came in. They had Webster at guard. I remember going in a little bit before that, 89, before he came, and that old field house was rocking. It was hot. I mean, you go in there. I remember when the Flying Illini came in there, it was so hot, them cats probably passed out. Wisconsin was a place where you would go and take the L. That was one of the things that Jalen Rose talked about, that, when they went there, it was a difficult place to play because you would take the L. It wasn't a place where you could easily get a victory. And a lot of that happened when Michael Finley's teams. And so it was a long time coming, but it was good to see that he was able to be honored with all his teammates and folks coming back to bless him and get the great message from Mark Cuban wishing him well, and Steve Nash and some of his teammates. He's doing great things as the vice president basketball operations for the Mavericks, and just continues to lead in this quiet way. And so it was great to be in the house in Madison to see him being honored in front of his friends and family and all the Badger fans. So that's it for us. Until next time, for my brothers over here, my man Darnell Kirkland Jr., who drops all that stuff. So follow him on Twitter. This cat knows more than you only get a snippet of what he knows. Here we're gonna keep laying it out. So you already know that he's deep in this. And my man, the counselor, I call him, hammer. He'll litigate you in a minute on this damn thing. You mess around, he will come out like, if it doesn't fit, you must have quit. And we love him for that. So until next time, this is RSG One Mic, your boy D Wilson. Peace.
Yes, today. Yes, today. You know, as we start the show, this one mic.
We hail. There is a pause throughout the stadium as this man sounds like he just coughs up a lung. Just looking around, the Jumbotron shows and pans the cheerleaders, and as it goes down each cheerleader's face, each one breaks up into laughter, which at this particular time destroys half the stadium. The other half is still trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Does this guy need CPR or something? And then at that particular time, I lost it. Devon's brother.
Yes, today.
Blog Talk Radio.
Start the show, this one mic. Phoenix is another place. They got a great training staff. They were able to breathe life back into Shaq. And you can do that. You know, people talk a lot about their training staff.
Blog.
Yes, today. You know, as we start the